The email arrived at 11:03 p.m., Amara Johnson didn't need to open it to know what it would say. The subject line, regarding your gallery submission, carried the same weight of disappointment she'd come to expect. Still, she clicked, her cracked laptop screen flickered as the words appeared in sharp black text, "We regret to inform you that your work does not fit our gallery needs at this time." Amara leaned back in her chair, groaning. That made 10 rejections this month. 10. She rubbed her temples, trying not to cry, but the frustration burned in her chest. She glanced around her shoebox apartment. The walls were lined with canvases, half-finished portraits, and abstract paintings she'd poured her soul into. Instead of hanging in galleries, they collected dust next to her unmade bed and stacks of ramen noodle cups. The kettle whistled. She poured hot water into her third bowl of instant noodles that day. As she stirred the cup, her phone buzzed. It was a text from her landlord, rent due by Friday. No excuses this time, Amara let out a humorless laugh. Yeah, sure. Let me just sell a kidney. Slightly used, but it comes with student debt, free of charge. Her best friend and roommate, Nia, padded out of the bedroom in fuzzy socks and an oversized t-shirt, rubbing sleep from her eyes. "Nia, you're still up? Don't tell me another rejection." Amara, bingo. Nia, sympathetic girl. Amara shrugged, spooning noodles into her mouth. "It's fine. I'm used to it." But she wasn't. Not really. Each rejection felt like another door slamming in her face, another reminder that no matter how hard she worked, the art world didn't seem to want her. Nia sat across from her, eyes sharp. "You're not giving up. You're too stubborn for that. And besides, your work is amazing. It's their loss." Amara smiled weakly. She wanted to believe that. But her bank account said otherwise. Across the city, a different kind of drama unfolded. At JFK Airport, flashing cameras blinded as a tall man in a tailored suit strode past security. Reporters swarmed, shoving microphones toward him. Reporter 1, "Mr. Park. What are your plans for the U.S. expansion?" Reporter 2, "Is it true you'll be announcing your engagement soon?" Ji-hoon Park didn't flinch. His jawline was sharp, his expression cool and unreadable. His assistant and some officers made way for him and he moved through the chaos like a man who owned the ground he walked on, because in a way, he did. The Park family empire stretched across Asia, now expanding into America. Hotels. Luxury brands. Investments. And Ji-hoon, at only 32, was the heir expected to carry it all. Without a word to the reporters, he slid into the back of a sleek black car. His assistant, Danny, nearly tripped trying to follow him in, clutching a tablet filled with schedules. "Danny, nervous sir, your parents have been asking again. About the engagement. They expect you to present someone soon." Ji-hoon leaned back in his seat, swirling the glass of whiskey the driver had waiting for him. "Ji-hoon, flatly of course they do," Danny swallowed. And the board too. They're worried about appearances. You know, family values, stability." Ji-hoon's lips curved into the faintest smirk. Since when did stability ever make headlines? Danny looked like he wanted to crawl under the seat. Ji-hoon turned his gaze to the city skyline outside. Engagement. Marriage. A neat little box to fit in. His parents' idea of honor. The board's idea of security. But to him, it felt like another cage. What they didn't know was that fate had already set something else in motion, in the form of a stubborn American girl who had no idea he even existed. The ballroom glittered like a dream, chandeliers dripping with crystals, waiters carrying trays of champagne, gowns worth more than Amara's yearly rent. Too bad she wasn't here to enjoy it. Careful, careful. Amara whispered to herself, as she wove through the crowd, balancing a tray of wine glasses. The hotel had rented her as extra staff for the night, and she wasn't about to lose this gig. Then it happened. A guest in a blinding white designer gown turned sharply, and, crash. Red wine spilled down the dress like a crime scene. Socialite, screaming, "Are you blind? Do you have any idea what this dress costs?" The room went silent. Dozens of rich eyes turned to watch. Amara froze, mortified, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. "Amara, I'm so sorry, socialite, sorry doesn't buy couture. People like you shouldn't even be allowed here. The humiliation burned hot in Amara's chest. Her boss glared from across the room. Her throat tightened, and then, a calm voice cut through the tension, Ji-hoon, that's enough. The socialite spun around. Ji-hoon Park stood there, hands in his pockets, gaze cool. Ji-hoon, the hotel will cover the damages. Send the bill to my office. Socialite, furious, and who exactly are you? Ji-hoon, smirking faintly, someone who thinks you're too loud. A ripple of laughter spread through the crowd. The socialite gasped, insulted, before storming off in a huff. Amara's face burned. She turned to Ji-hoon. Amara, mutters figures. Rich guy with a wallet saves the day. Ji-hoon raised an eyebrow. Would you rather I let her eat you alive? I'd rather you mind your business. She shot back, cheeks hot. Then she marched away, heart hammering. Ji-hoon's gaze followed her. Not many people dared to snap at him. Interesting, Amara stacked trays in the hotel's dim storage room, her arms aching. She was still replaying last night's humiliation in her head. The way everyone had stared at her like she didn't belong. The way that smug rich guy had stepped in like some kind of knight, except he hadn't worn armor, just a three-piece suit that probably cost more than her rent. Her boss's voice still rang in her ears. Boss, one more screw-up and you're done, Johnson. Do you understand? She'd bitten her tongue, nodded, and endured. Because what else could she do? Rent didn't pay itself. As the heavy door slammed behind her boss, Amara muttered under her breath. Maybe I should just marry a millionaire. Clearly, that's the only career option left. That can be arranged. Amara jumped, nearly dropping the tray. She spun around. Ji-hoon Park leaned casually against the doorway, hands in his pockets, that same unreadable expression on his face. He looked completely out of place in the dusty storage room, like a diamond tossed into a pile of rocks. Amara, snapping, what are you doing here? Come to fire me personally, Mr. Moneybags? Ji-hoon, calmly, no. I came to make you an offer. Amara narrowed her eyes. Hard pass. Ji-hoon stepped closer, his gaze steady. Pretend to be my fiancée. 6 months. In exchange, I'll pay your rent. And fund your first exhibition. Amara blinked. Then she laughed so hard she almost dropped the tray again. Amara, you're insane. Do rich people just invent drama for fun? Is this some kind of hobby? Monopoly wasn't enough? Ji-hoon didn't laugh. His face remained calm, serious. I'm offering you your dream. A chance to show your art to the world. Isn't that what you want? Her laughter faltered. Her stomach twisted. Because yes, that was what she wanted. More than anything, but from him. Amara, hesitant, why me? You could pick any society girl. Someone who actually knows how to walk in heels without tripping. Ji-hoon, a small smirk, because you don't care who I am. And that makes you useful. Ouch, her pride flared. She should have thrown the offer in his face. But then her phone buzzed again with a reminder, rent due Friday. Amara pulled the crumpled notice from her pocket and stared at it. 6 months of pretending versus losing her apartment. A shot at her dream versus another year of ramen cups. Her chest tightened. Amara, finally, muttering okay. But rules. No kissing. No touching. And definitely no falling in love. Ji-hoon's lips curved, not quite a smile, but close. We'll see. Amara groaned. Why did she already feel like she'd made the biggest mistake of her life? The next day Ji-hoon invited Amara to his paint house. You walk like you're late for the subway, Ji-hoon observed, his arms folded. Amara scowled. Because I usually am late for the subway. They were in his penthouse living room, a sleek, glass-walled space overlooking the city. Ji-hoon had decided she needed training before appearing in public with him. Danny, his nervous assistant, paced beside them, clutching a notepad. Danny, stammering, why yes, Miss Johnson, you'll need to practice smiling. Like you're in love, not like you're about to bite someone. Amara plastered on the fakest grin imaginable. Like this? Danny nearly dropped his notepad. Jihoon pinched the bridge of his nose. Jihoon, try not to look like you're plotting murder. Amara crossed her arms. I am plotting murder. Yours. Danny's eyes darted nervously between them. Oh okay. Let's move on to hand-holding practice. Amara, excuse me, what? Jihoon, deadpan couples hold hands. It won't kill you, he reached out. She hesitated, then slowly placed her hand in his. The contact sent a strange spark up her arm. She quickly pulled away, shaking her head. Amara, nope. Nope. Not happening. This is against the rules. Jihoon, with a faint smirk. Rules are meant to be broken. Danny scribbled frantically in his notepad, muttering, oh my god, they're going to kill each other. The next day Jihoon and Amara appeared in the public. The flashing cameras were blinding. Amara clutched Jihoon's arm as they stepped out of the luxury car. Paparazzi swarmed, shouting questions. Reporter, Mr. Park. Is this your fiancé? When's the wedding? Amara grinned so hard her cheeks hurt, waving like she was on a Disney parade float. Jihoon leaned down, his voice low. Stop smiling like a cartoon character. I'm trying to look friendly. She hissed back, you look constipated. Her grin faltered into a glare. The photographers snapped away, delighted at the chemistry. Jihoon guided her inside, his hand warm against her back. Inside the restaurant, Amara immediately ordered half the menu while Jihoon sipped his wine in silence. Amara, mouth full what? Don't rich people eat? Or are you too busy looking mysterious and broody? Jihoon arched a brow. You're unbelievable, she smirked, stabbing a piece of steak with her fork. And yet. You asked me to be here. Amara leaned back in her chair, a small smile tugging at her lips despite herself. Jihoon's gaze lingered just a moment too long. And she felt a flutter in her chest. She shook her head, taking a sip of water. It doesn't mean anything. It's just dinner. Outside, the city lights shimmered through the window, and for a brief second, the world felt like it had paused, until Jihoon's quiet, unreadable presence reminded her that nothing about tonight was simple. The flicker in Jihoon's eyes didn't escape her notice. Amara swallowed hard, suddenly aware of how close he was. She told herself it was nothing, a fleeting moment. But deep down, she wondered if tonight had just shifted something irreversibly. The Park Grand Hotel ballroom shimmered with opulence once again. A charity gala this time, diamonds glittering. Champagne flowing, and every powerful figure in New York gathered under one chandeliered roof. Amara tugged nervously at the sleek black evening gown Jihoon's stylist had forced her into. It hugged her curves in ways she wasn't used to, and the heels were already murdering her feet. Jihoon stood beside her, crisp in his tuxedo, calm and polished as if he'd been born on a red carpet. Amara leaned toward him, whispering under her breath, Amara, these shoes are evil. I swear they were designed by Satan himself. Jihoon's lips curved just slightly. Jihoon, try not to limp in front of the cameras. Amara, glaring, you're enjoying this, aren't you? Jihoon, smoothly, immensely. Before she could retort, a hush fell over the crowd. Heads turned. And in walked her, tall, poised, draped in silver silk. Min-seo Kim glided across the ballroom like she owned it. Every move was graceful, every glance calculated. She was the kind of woman who belonged in Jihoon's world, and she knew it. Her gaze zeroed in on Jihoon instantly. A smile, sweet but sharp, touched her lips as she approached. Min-seo, Jihoon's ex-girlfriend. Jihoon. It's been too long. Her Korean accent wrapped his name like honey. She leaned in, kissing his cheek. Amara stiffened beside him, forcing her face into what she hoped was a pleasant smile but probably looked more like a grimace. Jihoon, polite Min-seo. I didn't realize you were in New York. Min-seo, pointedly, business brings me here. And perhaps fate. Though. I didn't expect to see you with company. Her eyes flicked to Amara, scanning her from head to toe like an X-ray. Amara resisted the urge to tug at her gown. Amara, sticking out her hand high. Amara Johnson. The fiancé. The word fiancé landed heavy, and Min-seo's perfect smile faltered just for a second. Then she recovered, her laugh tinkling like glass. Min-seo, how unexpected. Jihoon's arm slipped around Amara's waist, pulling her closer. His touch was firm, protective, but also calculated. A performance, Jihun, Amara and I are very happy. Amara nearly choked. Happy? Her. With him? She forced a nod, grinning wide enough to hurt, Amara, ecstatic, actually. Totally in love. Can't keep our hands off each other. Jihun's brows flicked upward ever so slightly, like he hadn't expected her to go that far. Minseo's smile tightened. She leaned in just slightly toward Jihun. Minseo, funny. That doesn't sound like you. You've never been one for sentiment. The tension crackled. Amara, not one to back down, rested her hand on Jihun's chest dramatically. Amara, with mock sweetness. Well, people change when they meet the right person. Jihun's eyes slid to hers, sharp and unreadable. But under the table, his thumb brushed against her waist, subtle, grounding. Minseo's expression didn't crack, but her wine glass trembled slightly in her grip. Minseo, we'll see how long this change lasts. She glided away, leaving the air heavy with unspoken war. Amara let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Amara, wow. She's terrifying. Do all your exes look like Bond villains? Jihun didn't answer right away. His gaze was still on Minseo across the room, but then he turned back to Amara. Jihun, quietly, she's not the one you need to worry about. The way he said it sent a chill down her spine, but before she could ask what he meant, the MC's voice boomed across the ballroom, announcing the start of the charity auction. Jihun straightened, his hand still lightly on her back, guiding her forward, and Amara had the sinking feeling this night was far from over. The gala's charity auction began with a flourish. A velvet curtain rose, revealing items worth fortunes, a signed violin, a diamond necklace, a rare painting. Amara fidgeted beside Jihun at their table. She was sandwiched between him and Danny, who had been roped into keeping her on script. Danny, whispering nervously, remember, smile, nod, look supportive. Don't accidentally start bidding. Amara, whispering back, why would I bid? Do I look like I can afford a diamond yacht? Danny's face paled. There is a diamond yacht. It's the final item. Amara snorted into her champagne. Jihun, who hadn't taken his eyes off the stage, muttered without looking at her, Jihun, try not to embarrass yourself. Amara, you mean try not to embarrass you? He didn't answer, but the faintest twitch at the corner of his lips betrayed amusement. The auction rolled on, numbers skyrocketing. Then came the final item, an abstract painting. Bold strokes of red and black. Amara froze. Her heart skipped. It was hers, her name, Amara Johnson, printed neatly on the auction card. She hadn't even realized the hotel had submitted it. One of the managers must have sold it to the gala organizers without telling her. Her palms went clammy. The auctioneer raised his voice. Auctioneer, opening bid, $10,000. Silence. Then whispers. People exchanged skeptical looks. Socialite, from earlier, smirking, never heard of her. $10, maybe. Laughter rippled through the room. Amara's chest tightened, shame crawling up her throat. Jihun's jaw clenched. His hand moved slightly, ready to raise his paddle. But before he could, Minseo's voice rang out, Minseo, 20,000. The crowd gasped, all eyes turned to her, elegant, poised, her paddle raised with effortless confidence. She smiled directly at Amara, though her words were aimed at Jihun. Minseo, I find supporting new artists refreshing. It didn't feel refreshing. It felt like a power play. A declaration, I can buy and destroy your little fiancé's dreams whenever I please. Jihun's gaze darkened. He lifted his paddle. Jihun, 50,000. The crowd buzzed. Whispers exploded. Minseo didn't flinch. Minseo, 100,000. A sharp inhale swept through the ballroom. Amara gripped her skirt, pulse racing. Her painting, something she'd made while crying at 3 a.m. in her cramped apartment, had become the battlefield between two titans. Jihun lifted his paddle again, calm but firm. Jihun, 200,000. The auctioneer nearly tripped over his words. Auctioneer, sold. For 200,000 to Mr. Jihun Park. The gavel slammed. Applause erupted. Cameras flashed. Amara sat frozen, her face hot, her stomach twisting. On one hand, someone had just paid a small fortune for her art. On the other hand, it was Jihoon. And it wasn't about her talent. It was about winning. She hated that, as the crowd clapped. Jihoon leaned closer, his voice low enough only she could hear. Jihoon, next time, don't look so shocked. You're supposed to act like you belong here. Amara turned her head, her eyes flashing. Amara, I don't belong here. And neither does my art, apparently, not unless you turn it into a weapon. For a moment, his mask cracked. Something raw flickered in his gaze. Jihoon, quietly, your art belongs anywhere. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Amara blinked. Her throat tightened. She wanted to argue, to snap back. But his tone wasn't teasing. It wasn't calculated, it was honest, and that scared her more than anything. The gala ended with glitter and applause, but Amara felt like she couldn't breathe until the cameras stopped flashing. When the driver finally closed the car door behind them, cutting off the noise, she slumped against the leather seat with a groan. Amara, I think my smile muscles are permanently broken. If I wake up tomorrow with face cramps, I'm suing. Jihoon loosened his bow tie, leaning back, eyes closed. For once, he didn't look like the untouchable billionaire heir. He looked tired. Jihoon, that's the price of playing a part. Amara studied him. His usual sharpness seemed dulled. She wasn't sure why, but she found herself saying softly, Amara, you didn't have to buy my painting. His eyes opened, meeting hers in the dim car light. Jihoon, yes, I did. Her breath caught. She opened her mouth to argue. But he looked away, gaze fixed on the city passing outside the window. Jihoon, quietly they laughed. Like your work was worthless. That's what they do. Strip people down until they believe it. Amara stared. She'd expected arrogance, maybe teasing. Not this raw honesty. Amara, softly, sounds like you know from experience. For a moment, she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, barely audible, Jihoon, when I was younger. Before the suits and the boardrooms. I wanted to design buildings. Architecture. But my father. He cut himself off, jaw tightening. A shadow passed over his face. Amara's chest ached. She recognized that pain. The feeling of being told your dream doesn't matter. Without thinking, she reached across the seat and touched his hand. Just lightly. Her fingers against his. He didn't move. Didn't pull away. For a heartbeat, the silence stretched. Warm. Dangerous. Then Amara cleared her throat, pulling her hand back quickly. Amara, joking, too quickly. Well. You've got terrible taste in girlfriends, but at least your taste in art is solid. His lips curved, not quite a smile, but softer than usual. Jihoon, you talk too much. Amara, you brood too much. The car rolled to a stop outside her apartment. She reached for the handle, but paused. Amara, hesitant. Thanks. For defending me back there. Even if you did it in the most arrogant way possible. Jihoon's gaze held hers, dark and unreadable. Then, quietly, Jihoon, get used to it. Her stomach fluttered in a way she didn't like. She pushed the door open quickly, stepping into the cool night air before she could say something she'd regret. As the car pulled away, she pressed a hand to her chest. This was supposed to be fake. Rules. Boundaries. 6 months and done, so why did it suddenly feel like the lines were starting to blur? The next morning, Amara arrived at the penthouse, expecting the quiet calm she had grown used to during their stolen mornings together. Instead, chaos awaited. Jihoon's assistant, Danny, was pacing nervously, phone pressed to his ear. Danny, sir, it's the gallery. And the social media accounts. They're being targeted. Negative headlines, doctored photos, and there's someone spreading rumors about Ms. Johnson personally. Amara froze. Someone. Spreading rumors. Before Danny could answer, Jihoon's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then showed her the screen. A glossy lifestyle website had published a profile painting Amara as a social climber, claiming her engagement was purely opportunistic. The headline screamed, from ramen noodles to billionaire's arms, the real story behind Amara Johnson. Amara, stunned. This This is Mincio. She's behind this, Ji-hoon's jaw tightened. Yes. And she's not stopping here. By afternoon, the situation escalated. Amara's social media was flooded with messages, supportive, angry, mocking, and invasive. Every comment felt like an arrow. She turned to Ji-hoon. I don't know if I can do this. This world. It's not just intimidating. It's cruel. He pulled her close, steadying her. You can. You've already shown strength today. And I won't let her or anyone hurt you. Amara pressed her forehead against his chest. It's just. Everyone assumes I'm fake. That I don't belong. Ji-hoon, softly, you belong with me. And that's all that matters. Mincio, watching the news from her apartment, smiled coldly as she typed a new post. Mincio, let's see how long this charade lasts when the world knows all her little secrets. Later that evening, she arrived at the naming ceremony of Ji-hoon's friend that Ji-hoon and Amara were attending. Amara arrived in a sleek gown, trying to ignore the whispers and stares. Every step was scrutinized. Every smile measured. She felt exposed, vulnerable. Then Mincio appeared, radiant in her designer dress, whispering casually to the crowd, Mincio, oh, Amara, darling. I hope the pressure isn't too much for you. The headlines can be so unforgiving. Amara's stomach twisted. Ji-hoon's hand found hers, squeezing tightly. Ji-hoon, quietly ignore her. She's trying to scare you. Don't give her the satisfaction. Amara took a deep breath. The moment she had feared was here, a public confrontation, under flashing cameras and a whispering crowd. She realized then, surviving this world meant standing up not just for herself, but for the fragile truth between her and Ji-hoon. The night was far from over. And as Mincio smiled from across the room, Amara knew this was only the first of many battles. The morning after the naming ceremony, Amara sat at her tiny desk in her apartment, sketchbook open, her hands trembling slightly. The headlines from last night still burned in her mind: doctored photos, nasty rumors, and Mincio's calculated smears. Nia, her roommate, leaned over her shoulder. Okay, listen. You can fight back. You've got followers who actually like you, fans of your art. You don't need to let her control the narrative. Amara took a deep breath, flipping through her sketches. Inspiration hit. If Mincio wanted a fight, she would respond on her own terms, with truth, creativity, and authenticity. Amara drafted a new post, this time using her art as her weapon, a painting titled The Real Me. Featuring herself surrounded by canvases and color, bold and unapologetic, I am an artist. I am human. I am not a stereotype. Let the work speak for itself. Hashtag The Real Me, she posted it. Instantly, the response was overwhelming. Supportive comments poured in. People shared her story, praised her courage, and celebrated her authenticity. Amara smiled for the first time in days. Maybe I can do this. She received a text message 5 minutes later from an unknown number. Did you really think Ji-hoon would choose you? He needs someone who belongs in this world. Not a charity case in second-hand gowns. She just knew that it would be no other person than Mincio. She just deleted the message. He remembered Ji-hoon. Her chest warmed. It wasn't the press, the scandals, or even Mincio that mattered most. It was this, him, her, their small victories against a world that wanted to define them. I think I am in love with him. God, what have I gotten myself into? But as she glanced out the window at the city lights, she knew the fight was far from over. Mincio wasn't done. This time, Amara felt ready, not just to survive, but to stand her ground. Meanwhile, Ji-hoon made his move. He invited Mincio for a private chat. At the Park Grand Hotel office, a subtle but deliberate power play. Ji-hoon, cool, measured Mincio. This needs to stop. Mincio, smirking, stop. Or do you mean? Are you finally going to let Amara go? Ji-hoon's jaw tightened. I love Amara, she is not going anywhere. Oh wait, do you think that after cheating on me that you would come back and we will start all over? You're crossing a line. The press leaks, the rumors, it ends today. Or I'll make sure your reputation suffers just as much. Mincio's eyes flickered, a flash of surprise. She hadn't expected Jihun to challenge her so directly. Yet she masked it with a smile. "We'll see, Jihun. We'll see." The next morning, Amara was scrolling through her notifications when her phone buzzed incessantly. Mincio had launched another attack, this time a fabricated story claiming Amara's latest commission for a boutique hotel was stolen from a young intern. Amara, frustrated she never stops, Jihun appeared at her side, calm as ever, holding a folder of screenshots, social media posts, and private messages. Jihun, calm, determined she wants a fight. "Let's give her one she'll never forget." Minutes later, Mincio received an invitation to Jihun's office at Park Grand Hotel. The notice was formal, professional, but the subtext was clear: she was cornered. "Jihun, cool," measured Mincio. "This needs to stop." Mincio, smirking, "Stop? Or do you mean? Are you finally going to let Amara go?" Jihun's jaw tightened. His eyes softened just slightly as he looked at her. "She is not going anywhere." "Oh, and do you think that after cheating on me, you could come back and we'll start over? You're crossing the line. The press leaks, the rumors, it ends today. Or I'll make sure your reputation suffers just as much." Mincio's eyes flickered, surprise, then a sharp calculation. She masked it quickly with a smile. "We'll see, Jihun. We'll see." Jihun handed her a folder. Inside were detailed documents proving her attempts to sabotage Amara, with evidence of every lie, rumor, and smear. "Jihun, you have two options: pay a fine of $5 million for defamation, which I doubt you can, or publicly apologize to Amara in front of the press." Mincio's confident facade cracked. She paled, glancing around the office. The cameras outside were already rolling. Bloggers and journalists were gathering, sensing a story. Mincio, stammering, I can't pay." Jihun, firmly, "Then there's only one choice left. The world will hear your apology." Minutes later, Mincio was standing in front of cameras, trembling. She looked at Amara, then at Jihun, and finally back at the bloggers. Mincio, begrudging. "Ashamed, I apologize to Amara Johnson. I have wronged her, and I take full responsibility for my actions." The cameras captured every second. The crowd's whispers turned to murmurs of approval for Amara. She stood tall, graceful, and composed, a stark contrast to Mincio's humiliation. By the end of the press conference, Mincio slumped, defeated, and fled the country the next day, leaving behind only whispers and headlines about her disgrace. Amara turned to Jihun, who had been watching quietly, his expression unreadable. He stepped closer, brushing a loose strand of hair from her face. "Jihun," softly, "sincerely, you were incredible today. Stronger than anyone I've ever met." Amara felt heat rush to her cheeks. I couldn't have done it without you." He took her hand, looking deeply into her eyes. "Amara Johnson, I don't want a fake engagement anymore. I want us, to be real. Will you be with me, officially?" Her heart leapt. "Yes. Jihun. Yes." The city lights flickered behind them as he leaned in, and they shared a tender, cinematic kiss. Journalists caught glimpses of it, but no one cared. The world was celebrating their love. Later that evening, Jihun's family gathered, their smiles warm and approving. Park, joyful finally, someone who makes you happy. "Jihun. Amara Park, welcome to the family, Amara." Amara blushed, squeezed Jihun's hand, and whispered, "I never imagined it would feel this." "Right." Jihun pulled her close again. "It's only the beginning. Together, nothing can touch us." They kissed again, soft and lingering, the cityscape glittering behind them. At last, the chaos of Mincio, the rumors, and the pressure of the world had faded. All that remained was them, a love that was real, unshakable, and celebrated. "Jihun, clear, unshaken, this charade started because I was afraid of disappointing everyone. My parents. The board. The press. But somewhere along the way, it stopped being fake." Amara, whispering, eyes stinging, "You're an idiot." "I love you." Jihun's lips curved faintly. "So are you." "I love you more." And then, with the entire world watching, he pulled her into his arms and kissed her. It wasn't calculated. It wasn't performance. It was raw, real, and so full of everything they'd been holding back that the crowd erupted in cheers. Danny fist pumped in the back. Nia, who had snuck in, squealed loud enough to make half the room jump. When Jihoon finally pulled back, he rested his forehead against Amara's. Jihoon, quietly, no more pretending. Amara laughed through her tears. Guess the rules don't matter anymore, and as the cameras flashed and the world gossiped, Amara realized something: she might never fully belong in Jihoon's world. But together, they could make a new one. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on notification button, so you won't miss our next story. Thanks for watching.